When I first arrived in a Baka camp in 1992, life was pretty much as it would have been for thousands of years, but after 30 years of visiting the same community, life has changed dramatically. Electricity didn't come to the nearest town, Mulundu, until 1999. With this came television and sound systems in bars. That opened people's eyes to the outside world, albeit a strange one. Television provided three main influences: bizarre French chat shows, giving people a very strange view of the world of white people, football, and Cameroonian music video stations, where all the new dance moves could be learnt. However, in 1992, the Baka weren't completely removed from the outside world. They would listen to radios when they had batteries, and had one cassette, Les Problèmes by Prince Eyango.
Animaux ne te fais pas de chagrin, c'est tout le monde qui a des problèmes. Tu n'es pas unique, tu n'es pas la seule, c'est tout le monde qui a des problèmes.
We spent many a moonlit night dancing to this in the forest. On this first visit, I was surprised to find that they already had a guitar, and was particularly struck by two Baka, who both played very well. Pelembir, who was beginning to write his own songs, and Mbe, who was more focused on playing guitar. By 2000, when I visited with Jerome Lewis, we found that Pelembir had written many songs which the children were singing enthusiastically to Mbe's guitar. The generation of children singing here are now the backbone of the band Baka Gbiné, still playing today. This is the song Martin and Jerome, recorded in 2000 in the village of Banana, when there were mainly only Baka living there. You can see how they put the same energy into their music as they do into their traditional dances. The children sing uninhibitedly, fully engaged, clapping and singing, while Pelembir uses the skills he's learnt by participating in Bay to hold the energy and encourage the participants to maximum effect. But whereas the Bay are sung to communicate with the forest, these songs are to communicate with the world outside the forest. Pelembir is playing the mandolin. He picked it up so quickly from just watching me play. Another song Pelembir had written by 2000 was Boulez Boulez, which was different to all the other songs, being in a 9/8 rhythm. Rather than being based on Congolese and Makossa songs heard on the radio, it was based on their traditional dances. While Pelembir was leading the song, he was also teaching the youngsters to dance. He told me he'd based it on the boomer rhythm.
The music I call Boulez Boulez is from the Boma. Boma is the music of the ancestors from when the Baka lived in the forest. I transformed it into modern music with guitar. I call it Boulez Boulez.
The skills learnt to put on a good bay are easily transferred to other music. They have all learnt to be totally present when playing. It's all about manifesting May. which can be translated as creating a good vibe. It was around this time that I went to a villager's funeral where the Baka musicians had been invited to play. I had been sensitive to the accusation that by bringing guitars to the Baka, I was destroying their traditional music. But seeing the respect that they were given as musicians, I realised that this was very positive for their self-esteem. Traditionally, they would have been invited to call the forest spirits to a funeral, but the Christianisation of the villagers meant that this no longer happened. When I recorded the first Baka Beyond album in 1993, it was in an effort to recreate the music that I'd been playing with the Baka in the forest. But I always wanted to record them playing their own music and make this available. In 2005, recording technology had improved, and I managed to set up a mobile recording studio in a forest camp. The result was the album Gati Bongo, which includes this track, Nawa. This was the birth of the Baka band, Baka Gbiné. Gbiné being the Baka word for help, and the name they had given to the community that grew up around the music house that they had asked us to build with proceeds from their music. Gati Bongo even made it to the top 10 of the iTunes World Music Charts, and the track Gati Bongo was licensed for a Zumba Dance Xbox game. The Baka children that you've heard singing and drumming in this series of podcasts have now grown up. Some of them play in the band Baka Gbiné. In order to give them experience playing to an audience, we've taken them around several Baka villages to play live using a 12-volt sound system. The skills they've learnt from Bay mean that they instinctively know how to control the energy of a crowd and very quickly get the audience animated. This clip was recorded live at Salapumbe during one of our Forest Voices tours around Baka villages in the southern and eastern regions of Cameroon.
Applaudissez pour le producteur Martin.
For the Baka audiences to see an all-Baka band was hugely empowering, as they're constantly treated with disdain by many villagers and made ashamed of being pygmy. Many of Baka Gbiné's new songs are based on ternary rhythms, where each beat has 3 subbeats. During Bay, these rhythms provide a matrix in which the polyrhythmic percussion and polyphonic singing can interweave. They have an ambiguity as to where a rhythmic pattern starts. Simple rhythmic patterns sound very different depending on which beat or subbeat they start on. Not only does this make it unclear who's leading and who is following, but also makes the individual parts only make sense when part of the whole. This increases the sense of communion. By combining the musical elements with mimicry, theatre and laughter, an atmosphere is created that generates the full gamut of emotions from fear to ecstasy. The way these elements are combined create the technology that can enchant those present, making them become one with each other and one with the forest around them. Through the music and dance, they become one body, and all can sense the presence of some non-physical entity that they call May. This song, Mabita Bella, was recorded for Baka Gbiné's second album, Kopolo. All societies are aware of this presence that the Baka call May, but each culture has its own stories to make sense of it. For the Baka, the idea that May live in the forest but like to come and dance in camps is an experiential truth. But when the forest has been cut down and society follows a different path, other stories arise that describe these entities differently, or worse, suppress the events where they're experienced and deny their existence altogether. Today, the Baka are forced to choose between living in villages as third-class citizens or living in the forest in abject poverty with severely limited access to hunting. Removed from their forest environment, how will the Baka children learn how to listen, how to socialise, and how to perform a bay correctly? If the Baka continue to be forced to live in villages and to have their access to the forest denied, they will no longer truly learn these things, and their culture will become a mere shadow of its former self.